Hello, welcome to the Jim RPG Show. So I'm finally making my Yakuza impressions video. It's taken a while to get here because I was actually working on the graphics video for about 3 or 4 days before this, and it just took forever to make that video. So please do me a favor, if you haven't seen that video yet, I highly recommend going to check that video out. That video is a guide on PC graphics settings. Now, I know that's mostly for PC players, but I think consoles can check that out as well because it's a pretty fun video and it looks at all of the different graphics settings in the game. So looking at what happens when you change the quality for each different graphics setting and the effect that you're going to get and the performance boost that you're going to get. So make sure to check that video out. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you get all of my latest videos, including Yakuza videos. So in this quick impressions video, I'm going to go through the first 4 hours of Yakuza Like a Dragon, and I'm going to talk about the story, the voice acting, the gameplay, and the graphics in the game so far. Now, I just want to say I have played all of the mainline titles in this series, and I followed the series since it was on PS2, so that's the perspective that I'm coming from with this game. Alright, let's talk about the first topic, which is the story, and I put this first because the story really dominates the first 4 hours of the game. Now, I'm not actually going to talk about the details of the plots. I'll leave that for you to discover on your own. But obviously this is a video and you may see some scenes from the game, but I'll try and not spoil any of the story from the first 4 hours of the game. So the reason I want to talk about it first is because pretty much the first 4 hours of the game is 4 hours of cutscenes. Now, for long-time Yakuza fans, that's not going to be such a big issue because Yakuza fans, I guess, are used to longer story scenes in the games, although I don't think they've ever actually started with such a long sequence of scenes. Now, I'm just slightly concerned for newcomers who don't actually know what they're getting themselves into, because they might start playing this and expect that they're going to be getting into some gameplay to begin with, but they're going to be sitting there for 4 hours wondering what's going on. Because I think there's been about half an hour of gameplay so far. So I think newcomers should understand that this amount of cutscenes at the start of the game is unusual even for long-time fans. And I don't actually know how long it's going to be until we get some lengthy periods of gameplay. So I'm going to have to update you on that situation with my next impressions video. But having said all that, the story is really fun. So if you come in with an open mind, you're really going to enjoy the story. And that's because the Yakuza writers are really at the top of their game right now. Yakuza 0 is my favorite game of all time, and they did an amazing job with the story there. I think Yakuza 6, the story is also very good, although it just got a bit bloaty at the end, so they probably needed some editing there. But so far, I think Yakuza Like a Dragon is better than both of those entries, and better than any of the past entries before that. A lot of this has to do with the fact that there are really no wasted scenes and all of the conversation is really enjoyable and they build on every scene as the game goes. I love the way that from the first scene, there's a character called Arakawa, and they're already building up his personal background. And maybe people will be quite impatient with this and they want the game to get going, but I love the way that they're just building and building his backstory with every scene. And none of this is actually wasted or it's boring. It's really interesting to follow his backstory. Arakawa right now, from the first bit of the game that I play, really reminds me of the old-fashioned Hong Kong cinema, because in those movies there was a genre called heroic bloodshed, and what that meant was even though the hero was part of the bad guys, you still could feel for them because you could understand the characters' motivations. So that's what Arakawa feels like right now, and I'm getting a lot of these Hong Kong cinema vibes. And so at the same time too, they're building on Ichiban's character as well. And he makes a really great impression within the opening of the game. I think players will immediately feel the difference between the old protagonist Kiryu and Ichiban. I think Kiryu is more of a character that was developed for the previous generation of players. For me, I think Kiryu is a little bit too one-dimensional. He really only knows how to resolve the situation with his fists. But what I see with Ichiban right at the start of this game is that he has quite a number of dimensions to his character, and I think he is quite an endearing character, a little bit innocent, especially in the first part of the game, and he also adds a lot of humor, which Kiryu really didn't in the main storyline of the previous Yakuza games. Now let's talk about the voice acting, and I think it's truly amazing. I'm playing with the English subtitles. Now I know a lot of old-time fans would be thinking of playing the game in Japanese voiceover, but honestly I was a little bit bored with the Japanese voiceover, so I decided to give the English VA a shot, and it's really good. I think you guys should give it a chance. I think one reason why it works so well is because the lip syncing works well with the English voice acting. You know, in movies, the lip syncing wouldn't work so well if it was dubbed into a Japanese movie. So I understand why people are a little bit hesitant about trying the English voice acting, but honestly, people should give it a shot. It is really fun. Both George Takei and Kaiji Tang give great performances as Arakawa and Ichiban respectively. So the other thing to talk about is the fact that they've gone to a turn-based battle system rather than a real-time brawler. And I think they've done a reasonably good job with the turn-based system. Obviously at the start of the game, they don't give you many powers at all. You get one basic attack. You also get to use a strong attack. And they also give you the ability to guard against an attack by pressing the button at the right time when the opponent attacks you. But there really hasn't been enough gameplay for me to decide on if the whole turn-based system is good or not. So I will update everybody in the next video. That said, I think the turn-based system feels slightly off for a Yakuza game because for the last 15 years, we've been playing with a real-time brawler system, and now it just feels a little bit weird when you have a fight and then people are just sitting there waiting for you to go into some menus to select an attack, and then they will hit each other one at a time, rather than, say, like in a brawler system, both the enemy and you can hit them at the same time, so it really feels like a fight. But in this one, you're just taking turns to hit each other, so that feels a little bit jarring to me. I don't know how long that's gonna last, but I'm impressed with some gameplay that I've seen in the trailers of the really big special attacks, so we'll have to wait and see if this turn-based system delivers for me or not. Finally, I've spoken about the graphics in the PC graphics video, so make sure to check that video out if you haven't done so already. But I think on the whole, the game looks really beautiful, at least in Kamurocho. I've just got to Yokohama, but I haven't really explored it at all. I'm in the homeless area right now. I think overall the PC graphics are really good. The only issue that I have is that I think there are some texture inconsistencies with the game. So there'll be some signs right next to each other where one is a high quality texture and one is a very low quality texture. And it doesn't matter if you change it in the settings, it doesn't do anything. I don't know, maybe that's a bug or not. Maybe that's something that's been in the game for a while now and they haven't had time to change it. Or maybe it's just a VRAM issue where they're worried about the performance of a scene and they don't want to overspend on the VRAM budget for a particular scene. So overall, I think everybody should go and check this game out if they like what they see in the trailers, and just be reminded that the game is quite story heavy. So just know going in that there might not be so much gameplay at the start. Alright, that's going to do it for this first impressions video of Yakuza Like a Dragon. I need to go back and play some more of it, and then I will give you another update later on. So remember, as always, if you like this video, make sure to click the like button and also to subscribe to this channel for more gaming videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one.